jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in.
2 days before Christmas, a woman carried a parcel and a chilled bottle of Jojo into her neighbor's house. She smiled. She greeted everyone warmly, and she prayed silently that they would drink it. But what she didn't know was that the person who would drink it was not her neighbors, not the husband, not the wife, but her very own son. The poison she prepared for her neighbors would end up inside her own son. This is a story about jealousy, a Christmas competition, and one decision that destroyed a family. Every Christmas season, Maple Leaf Estate came alive. Houses were decorated with colorful lights. The smell of fried chicken and spices filled the air. Children ran from house to house, shouting with joy. But there was one tradition that excited everyone the most. The annual Christmas Pyjamas Parade, a grand physical event where couples walked through the streets in matching pajamas, waved to cheering neighbors, and posed for the judges. The prize was a huge cash reward and a trip to Dubai. For many families, it was the ultimate dream. For 5 straight years, one couple always won. Mr. and Mrs. Daniels. Their pajamas weren't just any pajamas. They were imported from abroad. Sleek, stylish, perfectly fitted. Every stitch, every color, every pattern screamed elegance. When they entered the parade, heads turned. Every pose looked like a cover on a glossy Christmas magazine. Couples tried to mimic their style. Children copied their smiles. Neighbors whispered in awe. People clapped. People cheered. People smiled and envied. But one person watched with bitterness. Next door lived Mrs. Jojo. She had tried many times. She had failed many times. Again and again, nothing ever went her way. Every Christmas, she watched the Daniels. She saw them laugh, smile for the cameras, and pose in their fancy pajamas. Then, just like every year, they would pack their bags and fly off to Dubai, leaving her behind. With each passing year, something inside her grew heavier, darker, and colder. A quiet anger, a simmering jealousy, she could feel it creeping into her heart. This year, she muttered under her breath, clenching her fists. They will not win. Not this year. Her eyes narrowed, and a small, determined smile crossed her face. For the first time in a long while, she felt ready. 2 days before Christmas, a courier arrived at the Daniels' house. He was carrying a big package, wrapped neatly with tape and a label from another country. It looked important. But the Daniels were not at home. The house was quiet and empty. Mrs. Jojo, who lived next door, saw the courier through her window. She hurried outside, her heart beating a little faster with curiosity. "I'll collect it for them," she said with a sweet, friendly smile. The courier nodded and handed her the package. It felt heavy in her hands, and she held it carefully as she walked back inside. Once inside, she set the package on the table and looked at it closely. She wondered what could be inside. It was big, mysterious, and seemed special. Mrs. Jojo's mind raced with questions. Who had sent it? Why had it come now? She couldn't wait to see what was inside, but she reminded herself to wait until the Daniels came home. Curiosity got the better of Mrs. Jojo. She carefully untied the package and opened it. Inside were beautiful matching Christmas pajamas. They looked perfect, luxurious, elegant, and flawless. Her eyes widened, and her heart felt like it was on fire. She stared at them, feeling a mix of awe and bitterness. "So this is why we lose every year," she whispered to herself, her voice tight with jealousy. In that moment, something inside her shifted. The quiet envy she had felt for years turned into determination. She no longer wanted to just watch. Now, she wanted to act. That night, Mrs. Jojo got busy in her kitchen. She prepared a Zobo drink. Cold, sweet, bright and inviting. Then, carefully, she crushed some pills and dropped them into the drink. She stirred slowly, making sure everything mixed perfectly. Her plan was simple, and it made her smile. She would deliver the beautiful pajamas to the Daniels. She would offer them the sweet, tempting drink. And by the time night came, the Daniels would be too sick to go to the Christmas contest. She poured the Zobo into a clean bottle, held it in her hands, and smiled, her mind buzzing with excitement and anticipation. The next morning, Mrs. Jojo walked over to the Daniels' house, carrying the package and the bottle of Zobo. She handed them the package first, then held out the drink with a sweet smile. "Please take this. It's Christmas," she said, her voice warm but a little shaky with excitement. Mrs. Daniels smiled back politely, her eyes kind. "We are very grateful," she said softly. Mrs. Jojo forced a smile, trying to hide the rush of hope and excitement inside her. But deep down, panic began to creep in. Something wasn't going exactly as she had imagined. She watched closely as the Daniels took the bottle. But instead of drinking it, they placed it carefully in the fridge, untouched. Unknown to her, their pastor had asked them to fast and pray 2 days before Christmas. The next day, Mrs. Jojo's son, Patrick, went over to the Daniels' house to see George. The two boys played video games together. They shouted, laughed, and teased each other as they tried to win. Then, full of energy, they ran around the house, chasing each other from room to room. After a while, Patrick suddenly stopped and rubbed his throat. "I'm thirsty," he said. George pointed toward the fridge with a smile. "Help yourself," he said, relaxed and unaware of what Patrick might choose. Patrick ran to the fridge, opened it, and looked inside, ready to grab a drink and cool down from all the running and laughter. Patrick opened the fridge. Inside, he saw a bottle of deep red Zobo. It looked cold and refreshing, bright, sweet, and inviting. Without thinking, he grabbed it, opened the cap, and drank it all in big gulps. At first, he smiled, enjoying the sweet taste. But just a few minutes later, his face started to change. His smile faded. His eyes widened. Something was wrong. Patrick clutched his stomach. He screamed. Sweat poured down his face. George screamed for help. Neighbors rushed in. Mrs. Jojo arrived running. She saw the empty bottle, and her world collapsed. Immediately, he was rushed to the hospital. At the hospital, the doctors quickly discovered the truth: the Zobo had been poisoned. Questions were asked. Who had done this? Why? Under the weight of fear and guilt, Mrs. Jojo finally spoke. She confessed everything. The package. The jealousy she had felt for the Daniels. The drink she had poisoned. For a long moment, the whole estate was completely silent. Everyone stared at her in shock. Nobody could believe what they were hearing. Patrick survived. But Mrs. Jojo lost everything she had worked for. She was arrested and taken away by the police. Her face was pale, full of shame and regret. Her family left the estate quietly, embarrassed and humiliated by what she had done. The Christmas contest, the event everyone looked forward to, was cancelled that year. And after that, the Daniels never competed in it again. The estate was quiet. The laughter and excitement of Christmas seemed to have vanished, leaving only a memory of what had happened. Jealousy doesn't just destroy others. Sometimes, it chooses your own child to make a point. Jealousy and envy lead to destruction. Mrs. Jojo's jealousy nearly caused harm to the Daniels. Harboring envy can make people take dangerous actions. Honesty and integrity always prevail. The Daniels followed their pastor's instructions faithfully, and their honesty and discipline protected them. Good intentions can protect you. Simple acts like fasting, praying, and being cautious helped the Daniels avoid falling into a trap. Malicious plans often backfire. Mrs. Jojo's plot was exposed when her own son accidentally drank the poison Zobo. Evil schemes rarely succeed as intended. Be cautious of what you accept from others. Even seemingly friendly gifts can have hidden motives. It's wise to stay alert and discerning, especially in competitive situations. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another thrilling tale. Your support keeps the stories alive.